Welcome back to FVC2 Season 3, one-shot qualifying here at the Spanish circuit Catalunya. 30 seconds until the start. Previous polls, there's no FVC2 data at the circuit, however Season 5, 3 and 1 we had Aziardale, LCR Fonben and Daniel Ricciardo respectively setting pole position at this circuit in the past. Of course, none of those drivers currently with us today. Going to be an entirely new pole sitter for the Circuit de Barcelona. I cannot speak to that. Sorry. Brand new pole sitter for the circuit. Jumping aboard immediately with D765. We equal all the way down to turn 1 for every single driver, barring your shift points. Everything counts coming into turn 1. You're going to get a good braking zone on the left side, braking just after the 100-meter barrier. D765 getting through well, as is teammate Broughton, never mind Broughton falling down. MC Party currently leading the way, Curly 7 just behind, and D765 is in third. Moving up to the leading Carlin now, under the MH barrier into Sector 2. It's a purple first sector for Party. Curly 7 moving ahead of Party, heading through the low grip areas, coming into turns. Not quite sure, I cannot see my graphic. That's going to... E75 moving ahead, coming into the final sector. Charlie 42 currently in reserve for Charouz in 4th. Finnell in 3rd. It is looking to be a very good day before the team between Curly and Finnell. Falling down the grid though is Broughton hard down into 10th. Around the final corner, it's got to get it in very well. Finnell moving ahead of D75 is going to be a run now all the way down to the line. It is a shorter run. Finnell 1:26.868 sets the first FVC2 pole at the Barcelona circuit. IX Finnell 1:26.868 sets the first pole position for Virtuosi and for FVC2 at Barcelona. Eldorado for Prema coming in 2nd and D75 in 3rd for Van Amersfoort. Moving on down the grid, Scarlett 42 coming in 4th, debuting in Season 3 of FVC2 for Charouz, currently sitting as reserve, and Psycho is in 5th for Van Amersfoort. 6th and 7th goes to Carlin for A. Williams and MC Party. 8th heads to Estrogen Impulse. 9th goes to Broughton. 10th only for Curly after a promising run early in the lap. FE Pixels takes 11th, Apex in 12th, and VNT Rosenquist down in 13th, setting a 1:33.966, only car above 1 minute. Welcome back to FVC2 Season 3 at the Spanish circuit of Catalunya. One-shot qualifying is completed. Curly 7 is sitting on the top spot for the sprint race. However, IX Finnell officially has the sprint for the pole position for the race. No previous sprints have taken place at the Spanish circuit currently yet. Season 3 Netherlands, Season 3 Great Britain, both had sprint races there. Season 2 had one again at Britain Silverstone, and Season 1 at Austria. Previous winners, Estrogen Impulse, Dale Broughton and A. Williams 43 are all with us today. Freddie Polk unfortunately missing out, not being present with us. Running down the grid order for top 10, all 13 of our drivers. Curly 7 will take the first grid spot, followed by Dale Broughton and Estrogen Impulse. 3 very fast drivers taking up the top 3 as the Psycho and D75 disqualified from the formation lap. In 4th and 5th, the return of Carlin, or the start of Carlin, I really should say, in Season 3. MC Party and A. Williams 43, Scarlett 42 and A. Williams both get disqualified from formation, and joined us on the grid. Down in 9th is going to be Eldorado for the Prema team, and 10th is Finnell. They will be starting 2nd and 1st respectively for the feature race. Down in 11th is going to be FE Pixels. Apex starts in 12th, and down in 13th, VNT Rosenquist, after suffering a very heavy crash at the Zandvoort round. Hopefully they're going to be able to finish the race today and possibly even score some points. Formation lap's coming to an end. Hopefully this start gets very clean. We always like to see good clean racing here. Only thing we ever hope for, clean, hard and close. Heading back up to the top, 4 cars already sat on the grid disqualified from the session. Going to be riding and watching. Very heavy leaning to the right there for one of the cars. I believe that is, by looking at it, FVC2. 1, 2, 3, 4. The 5 red lights are on. Lights out and away we go for the final round of FVC2 Season 3. Looking to be a good start at the top for Curly, but never mind, no, it's actually not. Broughton getting a massive start, coming up into first already. Very close at the top. Curly must have stalled down on the grid. Impulse into third, not getting a very good camera angle. Going 3 wide into turn 1. Going round, Broughton spinning through turn 1. Another car going through the escape on the left-hand side. Curly into the lead. MC Party up into third. Another car going round. That looks like Finnell also spinning. It is a disaster for Virtuosi. Also a disaster is going to be Charouz. Both cars coming together at turn 1 by the looks of it. All cars getting cleanly through. Save for the 2 Charouz drivers of Scarlet and Avis. Another car going around. That's a run of the Red Bull liveries. Out of the race goes A. Williams. Off to the left hand side as well goes Broughton by the looks of it. It's not Broughton, my mistake. It's going to be Dorado as the virtual safety car is deployed. A return to the FVC General for A. Williams, and it has ended only half a lap later as one of the Carlin drivers does not make it out of the first lap. Finnell taking the opportunity to head into pit lane, likely for damage, as is Psycho also heading in. Virtual safety car does nothing for bunching the cars up, it just slows everything down while the marshals get everything cleared away off track. It shouldn't be too much longer as the wreck of the Carlin is gone. Drive-through penalty for Impulse, speeding on the virtual safety car. That is going to be disastrous. He's in second. Early seemed to get a decent restart, but there's not an opportune area for him. Right in the middle of the straight between turns 3 and 4. Moving further down as well, Impulse just losing a bit of time to Curly. It's not what he's going to be wanting. Already having to serve that drive-through. Changes positions though further back. Dorado getting past Rosenquist. What seemed to be a move around the outside possibly of turn 9. Very risky, didn't see it there on the cameras. There is wing damage though to that Prema. Rosenquist might be able to catch back up and make something work. Able to turn in and brake a lot better than that damaged Prema. Impulse heading into pit lane, taking that drive-through penalty as quickly as he can. Going to be very detrimental though from second, falling down the order. Going to be 4th, 5th, 6th, heading down into 7th and 8th. He's not going to make it out of the pit lane before the Charouz has come on by the looks of it. String of drivers getting the fastest lap, no surprise coming off of a virtual safety car. Some of them got a better launch than others. Yellow in sector 1, that's going to be Rosenquist spinning around. No, it's not actually. Never mind, it is. My bad, never mind. Rosenquist spinning it round, coming out of turn 2. Cars getting a little bit spread out on track. Closest battle currently between FE Pixels all the way up in 4th and Broughton catching quickly in the Prema. Dorado doing a pretty good job of keeping up, especially with the damaged state of that car. However, it's going to be slowly falling off the pace of these two. Pixel's running out wide, heading into the final sector. Not very good, not what he wants to do. He loses the place out to Broughton. He's now going to be under threat, possibly, from Dorado if these two are going to be working together. E765 and Curly exchanging fastest lap between each other. It's at a 29.204 for the Van Amersfoort driver. He's going to be gaining all the way down to turn 1, but he's not going to be close enough. 3/10 back. Going to be right on each other. Yellow flag, final corner for the Shrews of Apex. Pixel's losing the position to Dorado pretty quickly. Back up to the front though, the top two are getting closer each lap by the looks of it. E75 only 0.2 of a second back, gaining very quickly. Bit of a mistake, bit of a deep entry into the braking zone, losing a bit of time to the Virtuosi in front. And of the DRS down the straight though, it's not much through this second sector. We're heading into the third sector. A better speed advantage to the corner could just play out if you're a bit closer together. Washes out wide earlier, the Virtuosi in front, heading into the final chicanes now of turns 13, 14 and 15. Better entry for the Van Amersfoort. Exits look to be about equal. That is just exactly what D75 is going to want. 3.5 tenths back, the DRS is going to be wide open, slipstream combined with it. He might just be close enough to make a dive into turn 1. Gaining all the way, staying in the slipstream as late as he can, pulling it to the left hand side. They're going to be side by side, sweeping around the outside. Doesn't have enough grip to make it work. It's going to be inside for turn 2 though. Still, Virtuosi getting ahead. Moving through turn 3, they're going to be falling back into a line. It is not what you want though. You're going to be washing out from the arrow of the car in front of you all the way through turn 3. It's a very long right hand. We're heading to turn 4 though. Both cars just staying equal, jumping down. Rosenquist very close to the back of Impulse. The MP driver just not close enough though, right behind, possibly just losing his position off screen. Impulse starting to pull away from the MP Motorsport car. Heading back up to the top, still going to be a close fight for the lead. 3/10 between them. It's going to be again all the way, possibly making a move into turn 1. Bit of a better entry into the chicanes as well. They're going to be right, basically bumper to bumper to each other. Lost a bit of time at the exit though. Again though, with the slipstream, with the DRS. Gaining all the way, he's going to be wanting to the inside this time, to the right hand side. Brakes later than the Virtuosi as well, hitting the corner perfectly. D75 moves through to the lead of the race. There is almost no contest there that time around from Curly. Virtuosi though got a better run through turn 3. They're going to be side by side heading into turn 4. Purple first sector for the Van Amersfoort, but they are side by side going through the corners. Heading back on board. The cars, they are wheel to wheel, nudging each other almost off the track. D75 getting the better run through turn 5. Heading though all the way down the straight, it is going to be the Virtuosi with the advantage this time around. Just got to get the exits right for this corner, hits it perfectly up the hill. Now he's going to get that right hander. It is a difficult corner if you don't have to take it. He gets it wrong, off into the gravel, off the track. Losing all the advantage he would have gained and then some from the DRS. Going to be over a second ahead. Possibly is D75. Curly will not gain the DRS by the looks of things if he does not catch up a bit before end of the lap. Yellow sector 2 for the MP Motorsport driver of Rosenquist, spinning it out of turn 7, I'm pretty sure. And indeed, Curly is not close enough. He will not get the DRS on the leading car. 3/10 That mistake at the top of the hill costing him dearly. Rosie was heading round, spinning again, thankfully out of the way of Apex and Finnell. That Giroux's got a damaged wing. Finnell running into the back of the car as well. Thankfully not upsetting him too much. Finnell have to take avoiding action. He's going to lose time again through the corner. However, it's going to be gained right back from the superior downforce. He's going to have the DRS all the way down as well. Gaining all the way. Apex stays on the inside line, coming back over to defend from Finnell, who's going to be going around the outside into turn 1. Doesn't quite break deep enough. And we're just going to have the inside line for turn 2, the outside again for turn 3. That higher downforce though could make all the difference around here. Apex washing out from the lack of ability to turn. Finnell having a look at the inside, has to get out of it a little bit. Coming down to the next hairpin. Still no luck from the other Virtuosi, however down the inside. Going to be taking the long way around for turn 7. Or turn 5, sorry. Still just not quite enough there. Apex, the veteran of the series, guiding that damaged car. Critical, almost missing half of the front wing. However, it's not going to matter. He's going to lose all of that due to the DRS down the straight. He's going to have to make a massive dive if he wants to keep this position, and massive dive he does. He's staying ahead ever so slightly off the exit, though. He's going to be on the outside line. Oh, he's not going to be ahead still. As brilliant as this defending is, I don't see it lasting much longer. He cannot keep that thing going through the corners at the same speed that the Virtuosi can, and he's going to have no DRS in the straight. Though Finnell making a mistake heading onto the final corner, getting stuck on the Sosh curb. He's now a second over back. Luck strikes for the Giroux's driver, heading, keeping his position. It's still out of the point zone for the sprint. He needs to make up another, but he is 13 seconds off the back of Impulse, and he will not be scoring points in his current state. Current 2 closest cars on track going to be the 2 Premas. They're going to be battling each other by the looks of it. Need to stop and need to start working together if they want to get a podium against the Carlin of Party. Yellow sector 2 for the MP Motorsport car again. Finnell has got right up to the back of the Giroux's of Apex. Right again, spinning around the top of the hill though. A near identical but opposite mistake of what his teammate Curly did, losing out the lead. There's a 3-second gap at the top now, and Finnell drops now 6 seconds back with Psycho right on the rear of that car. It is luck striking again for Apex. Still though, 4 laps even still for him to go. A long way to nurse that car home, and it is going to be difficult every single second of it. All cars starting to spread out, about a second between everyone. It's the smallest gap. Distance between Psycho and Finnell just a little under a second in that margin thereabouts. However, they are currently biting out of the points down in 9th or 10th and 11th. Only top 8 scoring in the sprint race. It was the top 10 for the feature. Some cars that are gaining on each other very quickly. Scarlet is catching Pixels at a very, very high rate of knots. Broughton and Dorado are the teammates at Prema again. 4/10 separating each other. I don't see them trying to do anything against each other at this point in the race, though. They are too close to the finish to sacrifice 4th and 5th. They do want to get that Carlin, though. Here comes Scarlet. Having a look up the right-hand side of Pixels, heading into the hairpin. Doesn't quite get it. Pixels, though, outbrakes himself, running very out wide, washing out. However, Pixels is going to be defending for his life heading around here, but Scarlet cruises around the outside almost. They're going to be side by side heading to the entrance to the hill. Scarlet just dropping back, hoping to maximize her line. Forcing Pixels offline, running over the Sasha Group. He's going to lose out the position. But Scarlet, big twitch over the top of the hill. It's going to give Pixels right back that position again. Lots of drivers having problems over the top of the hill. Could only get amplified come the feature race. Longer worn tires are going to be very interesting to see how they end here. Scarlet again just cruising around the outside of that car, but Pixels going to get the better launch, heading to the chicanes. They're still 2x2, giving each other just enough space around the corner. Scarlet's going to be ahead, but has to brake earlier. Pixels cutting the corner to avoid contact with the other car. Doesn't get as good of a run through the final corner. Scarlet has DRS and is right alongside. Going to be pushing fast again. Turn 1, they're going to be side by side of their setup. Scarlet is not pulling ahead as much as she hoped to be. Only DRS. There's no battery assistance to these cars. They're still too wide through turn 1. Scarlet pulling ahead though. Heading back up to the front though, Dorado managing to get past Party for 3rd place. His job now is going to be holding that Carlin up for his teammate. Pixels getting past Scarlet again in revenge. They're still too wide heading through turn 5. They've got to be careful though. Impulse is catching right back up. He could get a huge haul of points compared to what he originally had in the first place. They're still going to be battling all the way up the hill. This is going to be the most crucial part of the track. They need to make no mistakes, otherwise they're going to lose out big time. Not only 1 position, but 2. Because that car behind is just slowly creeping up at the rate of knots. D765, another fast lap, 128.479 for the Van Mousefort. Scarlet running wide, coming out into Sector 3. Keeps it steady though. Pixels is still there, having to cut the corner again though, just outbraking himself. That's going to be losing him a lot of time. He's going to have to give that back, and that's going to only amplify what Impulse is going to gain on the ART driver. Getting back to the battle, Broughton setting the purple first sector, trying his best to catch that Carlin. Pixels and Impulse side by side heading through turn 3, coming up to turn 4. Impulse is well ahead, moving up into 7th place, getting a much better run than Pixels is through the next corners. Two cars are again on top of each other though. Apex and Fiddle. There's not long remaining in this race, but it is still a lot further than Apex would like. Still having to nurse that broken front wing all the way. He's going to have a hell of a work cut out for him. Going over the top of the hill, in Wade's Apex's advantage here, he can't take as much speed, he has less risk of spinning it through the corner. It's not going to be much though. He's heading to the inside line again, hoping to defend against Finnell. Finnell takes the left hand or the right hand side of the track, doesn't have enough grip to make it round turn 10. Broughton gets past Party, as Party is in the wall. Unfortunate for the Williams driver. Rayma up into 4th and 5th, heading back to the battle between Finnell and Apex. Finnell's down the inside into the entrance of the chicane. Apex can have the better line for the second bit, but he just does not have the corner and grip. Finnell moves up into 9th, Apex down in 10th. Apex with the DRS though, and the less drag from the front wing as well could be combined. He could be making a huge dive as a last ditch effort. Is the final lap. There's no point to making here. Not close enough, not enough braking power to the Virtuosi in front. That car's going to be cruising ahead for the rest of the lap due to its advantages and downforce. Apex's new mission now is going to be defending from Psycho. Heading back up. Scarlet, Impulse going to be going at each other for half a lap remaining for these two. Heading around the top of the hill, keeping it nice and steady. Both of them keeping it well. D75 wins the race, a 9-second gap over Curly 7. Impulse to the outside, heading around turn 10. They're going to be side by side. Not enough grip on that side of the circuit. He's going to get the better run into. Scarlet looks to be off the track. Possibly having to get out of the throttle. That is Impulse up into 6th. A great recovery and a very late move. However, Impulse making a mistake coming in the last corner. Scarlet on the inside line, going to have the better run down through the corner. They're going to be side by side. It's going to be another photo finish. Heading on board, it is nothing between them. Scarlet just gets by 1,000th of a second. 1,000th side by side over the line. Pixels comes home in 8th, the final points paying position. Heading down, Apex successfully defends against the attacks of Psycho. What a finish for the sprint race at Spain. D765 is the winner of the sprint race. Curly 7 coming home in 2nd place and Eldorado in 3rd. Second Prema in 4th place, a huge haul of points for them. D765 Van Amersfoort Racing wins the sprint race at Spain. Second place heading towards Curly 7 and Virtuosi team. Third heading for Eldorado. Prema taking a haul of points in the sprint race. Carlin on their debut coming in 5th, but also having a car down 13th, crashing out first half a lap. Scarlet 42 coming home by 1,000th of a second over Impulse for 6th place. Impulse having to sit for the 2 points of 2nd, and FV Pixels with the final points paying position is in 8th. Binnell comes home 9th. Apex after doing a valiant defence in 10th place, nursing home that very broken shrew. Psycho in 11th. BNT Rosenquist 12th, and our only DNF, A. Williams 43, 13th. Welcome back to FVC2 Season 3, Round 3 at Spain. We just had our 13-lap sprint race, and now we're heading in for the 19-lap feature. It was a very close finish, and a very exciting one indeed. Finnell takes pole position for the main feature race. Previous wins here, we have no FVC2 data, but OJ English, LCR F1 Ben and the Apex Miata are our previous winners. Only one with us today, starting down in 12th, but these are F2 cars compared to the F1 cars that the current winners have set their wins in. Grado takes up 2nd position, and D75 heading into 3rd with Scarly 42 in 4th. Psycho again heading up into 5th place, and the Carlin duo of A. Williams 43 and MC Party take 6th and 7th. Williams this time around is going to be hoping for a better race, only finishing, well, not even finishing actually, only completing half a lap before getting an unfortunate crash. Let's hope he makes it further this time round. Party down 7 completes the Carlin duo on their debut in Season 3 of FVC2. Esri and Impulse down in 8th with Broughton 9th and Curly in 10th. FV Pixels starts outside of the top 10, down 11th, as does Apex, our previous race winner and champion, who is currently taking the alternate layout of the track. Going back on there at a very high angle. It is currently a formation though, there is no loss for doing so. VNT Rosenquist completes the grid down in 13th. We We've seen how close racing can be here, especially between damaged cars nursing their way homes from the sprint race. Let's hope we get that same excitement here in the feature. Cars lining up on the grid. Very interesting parking position there for one of the Red Bull liveried cars, possibly off Dorado. Doubt he's going to be starting the race from that though, as we see he's straightening himself up. A few cars getting disqualified on their lineup to the grid. Thankfully no car facing completely out of position yet, however we do see what looks to be the car of Impulse heavily off to the right hand side, hoping to get into that inside line for the start of the race. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 red lights are on again. Been a long hold for the both race, even longer this time. Lights out and away we go. Looks to be a very poor launch for some of the cars at the back. Not sure how the actions are up at the front. Finnell seems to get the best launch. Scarly42 already up to third, getting a much better launch. Heading on board with her. Has a look down the inside, doesn't want to make it happen though. Too many cars heading into the turn 1 rush. I mean look, one of the Prama's heading off the road. Another car into the escape road on the left hand side. Everyone's through cleanly though so far, apart from a few off track excursions. Finnell though already having a runaway from the lead. Other car off the track into the gravel. Braking board's been, or one of the Rolex boards has been destroyed there. That is Dorado falling away down by the looks of it. Garley42 and Williams having a battle currently for third. However, it was around just after this section of the track though that Carlin, currently sat in fourth, did have its accident. Heading on board with the driver, veteran of previous seasons in the FVC, makes it round, going to get further lead from the sprint race. Having looked down the inside into turn 10, just not enough braking power, gets out of it. However, Scarlett does run off track, washing out a little bit, trying to avoid the dive bomb. However, Psycho has a look at the inside, doesn't make it work. That's caused all the cars to check up. Accordion, they're going to be going 3 wide, heading into the chicane. That's only going to end in disaster. The Prama's either side of Impulse. Thankfully, nobody gets hurt. Prama's having to just settle behind the driver, or having to settle behind Impulse. I'm not sure what team he's with. Broughton getting absolute worse off there, however, currently starting up front. D75, pure slipstream now, no DRS, having looked to the left hand side, the outside line seems to be a favourite of his so far. Doesn't quite have enough grip to make it work. Apex losing a number of positions down at turn 1, the yellow flag is coming out. FV Pixel seems to be getting into the bother, as is Broughton, both of them very down outside of the points, as is Apex having his own problems. A more close battles on track as the cars starting to slowly file out, though we are seeing a definite split between what looks like 2 groups, and then car no man's land. D75, they're making a move for the lead into turn 10. Finnell just having to get it up. Finnell though moving to the inside line through the turn 10, not going to have enough grip to make it happen. He's going to have to settle down for second through the third sector. No DRS advantage yet either. He's going to have to just work on pure slipstream and engine power alone. Heading into turn 1, he's just too far back, I think, to make anything happen. .129.303, setting the pace so far for this feature race. Hardy and Broughton having a fight down for 9th place. Cars up at the front all starting to separate out. However, some cars that are very close to each other are going to be Broughton and Pardy. Temporarily within a tenth of each other. Also on the back of this fight, they're going to be the Cheroos of Apex. This time with a full front ring, he's going to be hoping to get points scored again. Obviously top 10 now are scoring points instead of only the top 8. Apex just hits the back of the Prema a little bit. Going to have the better line into the corner, backing out though. Doesn't want to go too wide just yet. It's too early in the race to risk it all. off a bit. Impulse still in a fight with Psycho and Dorado. Bit of a loose and coming through the final corners. Not what he wants to happen, but it is out of everywhere the best place for it to happen. Not much track to run off. Rosenquist seems to be having a spin. The yellows temporarily come out in sector 3. Here comes Impulse though, heading to the right hand side against Psycho. Second Van Amersfoort has no defense for the charging high-tech. At least I think it's a high-tech, please correct me if I'm wrong. I'm not sure of these cars. Watson heading into pit lane, likely for damage. Here comes the other Van Amersfoort having a look down the inside of Impulse. Doesn't have enough grip to make it happen. He's got to be careful of Dorado in the Prema though. Going to be right behind him. He's going to take any advantage that he can. Indeed, he is in fact taking that advantage, heading into turn 7. Be side by side, Psycho on the outside. Just loses out to the Prema, cruising by on the inside line. That does mean though Psycho will have the DRS down the straight if he can get a good exit. However, Dorado also has it, but a double slipstream for the Van Amersfoort driver is just not enough though to be able to catch up. The longer these three fight as well, early 7 slowly catching to the back of them. And by the looks of it, Impulse is starting to pull away just a bit off of the front of Dorado. Scarlett not having a great run through the final corner. A. Williams 43 moving up into 3rd. DRS wide open for that car as well, meaning a much better line for him. Curly having a look up to the inside of Psycho through turn 3, a much better line. He's just going to back out though, not enough speed, washes out a little bit. Psycho outbraking himself, but nearly heading off the road, having a late turn, and Curly has another look, possibly having a look for a dive up into turn 7, thinks better of it, backs out, opting instead to go for hopefully the better line as well as DRS assistance heading into the 3rd sector. Just going to keep it steady, stable, does that perfectly. Now DRS going to be wide open, side by side, 2x2 into the corner. Curly on the outside just doesn't have enough grip, washes out a little bit, tries for the cutback, heading into the final corners of the track, just not enough grip. They're going to be side by side though. He's actually got the perfect amount of grip, making all the way around the outside, just barely losing out though. Trying every which way he can to try and get past. He's going to have another assistance of DRS all the way down the start-finish straight. Psycho does not have. It's going to be much longer, but that car is much further ahead than it was last time. Again, no battery assistance, no ERS in these cars. You've got to work with pure engine power. He's getting very close, has to look down to the inside. Psycho leaving just enough space in case he does get there, but not enough. Psycho getting very unstable there out of the corner, having to jump on the brake to get the car secured. That one's Curly running to the back of them. I can't see if they're going to be side by side. Don't know of any wing damage either. Hardy having problems heading into turn 2. Doesn't seem like any damage for either cars. I can't spy anything on either of them. Thankfully just a scare for both of the drivers, however that leaves Curly up and quite comfortably into 7th. Moving back though, it's a 4-way fight for 3rd. A. Williams 43 going to have to defend for his life for the rest of the race. There's also the pit stops taken into effect as well. 3 very angry and very hungry cars behind. Finnell getting a little bit unstable going through the top of the circuit. Going to be a DRS and slipstream train Most advantage of which is going to go towards Dorado. If he can get a good exit, he might just have himself looking at something here. Scarlet, though, gaining rapidly on the Carlin. A. Williams moving to the left or the right hand side of the track, trying to defend the inside line. They're going to be 2x2 through turn 1 and turn 2. Scarlet getting ahead, though, by the looks of it. Almost out of road. They're going to be still too wide heading through turn 3. Impulse having a look up the inside, trying to follow that Carlin through. Gets washed out, though, and the Prema is going to be there. 2 rows of 2 wide heading through turn 4. Drew's just losing out a bit. Has a very ambitious dive bomb into turn 5, but that is hugely ambitious. Round goes Impulse. Spinning out of this fight for third. Still 3 ways this fight could go, though. Impulse spinning all the way down to 7th. Curly getting ahead of the stricken car. A very ambitious dive from Scarlet, possibly having to cause Williams to check up, which caused a chain reaction behind that might get sent into the stewards for investigation. With that, the gaps open up. Things calm down midpoint in the race. They don't calm down for long. Impulse getting just about within 4/10, dropping a bit though through turns 1 and 2. Hunting down the Virtuosi in front. Just as quickly as that gap closed up, it is expanding right back to over a second. Impulse will have the DRS assistance just barely grabbing on to the very tail end of the tech gap heading into sector 3. However, it's not going to be enough to be able to get him that much closer towards the Virtuosi in front. However, moving back up to the fight for third, it is still raging on. This time, in the hunt, it is A. Williams 43, Eldorado diving into pit lane, hoping to get the undercut on these, as is Scarlet heading into pit lane as well. Like the only car that did not come out. Yellow's come out for sector 2 and 3. 3-second time penalty for corner cutting for MC Party. Finnell stays out along with Williams and Curly, as does Impulse by the looks of it. Also staying out is Apex. The rest of the field deciding to either head in or just not close enough. Pixel's staying out. Going to be right, very close there to the net leader of the race. They're going to be side by side. Soft versus hard. Pixel's taking the long way around. Not enough grip. Fight off the Van Amersfoort, who is comfortably a pit ahead of 8th place. Again, the gaps open up. Closest cars 1.3 seconds apart from each other, being again 3rd and 4th. Middle staying out for another lap. However, it looks like A. Williams might be heading through the lane, and indeed he is. The Carlin 5-second penalty for speeding in pit lane, though that is the opposite of what he wants. He was fighting well and fighting hard, but that's only going to hamper him. Impulse also into pit lane, avoiding penalty, as is Apex. Damaged front wing as well for FE Pixels. Coming in, he's going to have to get that replaced. It's going to slow down his stop. Getting getting slowed down to the speed well before, almost coming onto the brakes again. The party in for a slow stop, might have had to get a wing change there too. Moving back to the action on track. No cars really close to each other. Broughton gets past Pixels, who has to have a wing change in the pits. Broughton having his own problems earlier in the race, where having to pit twice in a row, one of the times because the crew did not change a red level wing, according to him in the driver's chat. Closest two cars on track are now within a second, Psycho and Apex, 9th and 10th. Apex looking to continue scoring points in the series. Very aggressive there, as Finnell heads into the pit lane. Car off track of Rosenquist, almost very nearly getting a dangerous rejoin there. Soft compounds of Psycho are going to be better at this point than Apex, however, Psycho still does need to pit. Virtuoso in a very comfortable spot, lap 11 of 19. First and third for the two team drivers. However, that charging Van Amersfoort of D75 is very, very quick. Apex again showing off valiant defending skills against anyone who dares try and get past him. Very ambitious dive though from Psycho, heading into turn 4. Both cars do come together, but do have slight spins, and might possibly be damage for them as well, however they retain their positions. Very ambitious lunge though from Psycho, coming off the worst for him. That will possibly be sent for investigation as well. Heading back up though, A. Williams and Scarlet are still fighting each other. That car though does have the 5-second time penalty that has added to the end of his race time. However, he can keep on the back of the Cheroos and hope that Scarlet herself will get a penalty and pull it out. Early 7 heading through pit lane, coming out, not going to be the greatest. That's a lot of cars going to lose positions to. Virtuoso is still in a decent place though at the final corner though. Party, sector 3 yellow flags. Jumping over to see what's happened there. That is looking to be a completely fine car, thankfully not going to be causing any problems at this point in the race. The fight for third is still raging on hard. It may not be for the position at the very end of it, but on track it is still as close as it possibly be. Psycho managing to get past Apex, but Apex is coming right back. 1.5 tenths separate them. That as the gap temporarily doubles. Impulse gets past Curly for 6th on the timing. Just behind this group there, you can see they're coming over the top of the hill. That is a comfortable gap now. Scarlet's been very good at defending herself. Both the Cheroos is absolute top of their game when it comes to defense. However, the DRS now, as well as a slightly better exit off of the final corner for the Carlin of A. Williams, is going to be gaining all the way down to turn 1. Here he comes every second, heading to the inside line. It'll be 2x2, they bang wheels into each other. As Scarlet spins round, possibly from contact, it's unsure. losing all the spaces up from 3rd down into 7th. Disaster strikes for Charouz, with not long left in the race, lap 13 of 19. Also coming into other is Apex against Psycho, who's now a second behind Van Amersfoort. .128.436 for D765. In the previous race, he currently broke the record that was set at 16 different people having a fastest lap, D765 now having 2, and possibly on the verge of a 3rd, with nobody challenging him, 12 seconds in the lead. Heading aboard with Psycho, who is gaining against the Charouz of Scarlet very fast. Soft compound tyre for that car. Then we have more grip, but it is just a case of how much it is worn. 3 second time penalty, 4 pixels for corner cutting. As off goes the track for the Van Amersfoort of Psycho. Also gaining very rapidly to the back of this car is going to be the Charouz of Apex. Possibly both of these cars working together to try and get a better point to finish for both of them. It is a risky game to play, but it is definitely one to look at this point. 128.128 for Broughton for the Prema team. New fastest lap. I suspect those soft compound tyres will start falling off very soon for Psycho. Even with an alternate strategy, they do not last forever and they do fall off harder than the other tyres once they start to go. However, when that point comes, it is not yet, and Scarlet's going to be hoping that it does come soon. 2 by 2 again into turn 1, Psycho on the outside. Getting it done cleanly. We're coming through turn 3, both of the Charouzers are going to be on the inside line. Washing wide goes Psycho. Just about keeps it. Scarlet though is going to be right there, having a look at the move into turn 4. Gets the better line, gets the better braking. However, those soft compound tyres just staying there enough to keep her on the outside. They're going to be 2 by 2 into turn 5. Slight contact between the two cars. Psycho very much outbraking himself, trying to get the line into the corner. Scarlet comfortably ahead again, but they're going to be too wide, possibly through turn 7 and up the hill. Psycho having a look at the outside, thinks better of it, getting the better line for himself. To the top of the hill is the better place for the soft compound tyre. Not a great exit to the corner, just not gaining enough on the Charouz in front. Also notable currently is the gap between 5th and 6th. Mind it was very close, but then jumped up to about 8 tenths, now down to about half a second. We'll keep an eye on that. A Psycho gets round. Unsure if it's from a mistake or from contact. Half spin saves it though. That is both Charouz up to 7th and 8th. A 1.4 second gap. Apex getting let through by Scarlet. As the leading car has the DRS spin up the top of the hill. That is for Broughton by the looks of it. Staying out of the wall, staying out of contact, no incident, green flags are back out and waving. Jumping up to the battle for 5th, Impulse versus Curly. Virtuosi seems to be getting very close at some points, might even have better grip from coming into pit lane later and just having the better conditioned tyres at this point in the race is getting very close to the end. That advantage could come greatly. Heading on board, Curly's so very close. Going to have the DRS in the right hand side of the circuit. They're going to be having a look around the outside. Not enough room to make it happen. Yellow sector 2 for apparently nothing. That was for Rosenquist, proceeding at normal speed through the corners. Much better launch off of the corner for Curly, gaining about 0.2 of a second. Here is going to be open again, and the slipstream is close enough. He's going to be battling into turn 1, might even be ahead by the time he gets there. Impulse moving to the inside line, trying to do all he can against the defense of the Virtuosi, but the outside line at turn 1 is very favourable in these cars. Curly gets up into 5th place, cruising around the outside of turn 2. Carl and Apex battling each other for position. We've seen what's happened earlier in Season 5. The F1 cars, they were fighting each other very close at Spa, losing out on a podium finish at that race. And indeed, one of them's head off the track. That's Scarlet into the wall, avoiding damage again, but that is a repeat of the Season 5 teammates possibly coming into contact with each other, only losing time and not position this time around. As Curly also gets a decent gap ahead of Impulse. 0.6 of a second between these two cars. Time gap keeps going up, 0.8 of a second, however it's going to be coming down again. DRS assistance for Impulse, he's not going to be close enough to make anything happen to turn 1 though. Try as he might, he cannot catch up. It is only pure engine power and slipstream you get in these. Yellow sector 2 for, that's Dorado, spinning it round out of turn 2, keeping it out of the wall. Early up to 4th, Impulse up to 5th. The fight for 2nd now raging on between Finnell and Williams. Finnell will get it due to the penalty currently being carried by the Carlin. Looking at the time gaps, it could be a 2nd and 3rd for Virtuosi if Curly can keep up at the current rate. That is all the more incentive though for Impulse to try and catch up. A podium is on the cards, it may be through a penalty, but it is still there. E765 heading on to the final lap with a 19-second advantage over the car in 2nd. Gaining at a distance over a 2nd lap, he is completely unchallenged. As all cars fall outside of a second of each other coming for the final lap. Impulse does not get the DRS assistance down the straight, he's going to have to rely on pure slipstream alone. As things wind down towards the end of this race, there were exciting moments, there were close contacts. However, with a near 20-second advantage over 2nd place, simply having to cruise around the final corners, it's going to be D765 who wins the feature race at Spain. Rounding the final corner, yellow flags on the straight, but it's not going to matter. 20.16 second, the gap is at the line. Up next on track, it's going to be A. Williams 43 for the Carlin team. However, carrying that 5-second penalty, it's going to be Finnell and Curley replacing him on the podium. Yellow, sector 2. Possibly Scarlet spinning it around. Finnell and Curley for Virtuosi take a huge haul of points. A. Williams comes home 4th, and a 1/10 of a second later is Impulse, just not close enough to make the most of that penalty. 6th place will go to Eldorado, with 7th going to Apex. Scarlet 42 going home in 8th position. Heading into the wall, might not even make it to the line actually. Very huge impact. It's going to be MC Party for 8th. Scarlet dropping it around the final corner. A case of what could have been earlier in the race goes to disaster even further, dropping to 9th. Psycho will come home 10th to get the final points playing position. Rosenquist in 11th. And Broughton will be 12th, with Pixels finishing a lap earlier in 13th. As I said, it's a case of what could have been for some. For others, it's a case of what definitely is. Virtuosi coming home with a haul of points, 2nd and 3rd, but Charouz falling apart, contact between themselves, and problems with others. 7th and 9th only. See some interesting conduct from the Prema of Broughton against one of the AIs. Broughton choosing to wait as long as possible on the way home. But it is this man here, unchallenged, up at the top. First place again for D765. Driver of the day going to Curly 7 by the game. The voting will be open on the app soon. A runaway victory up at the top for Van Amersfoort yet again in FVC2. 2nd and 3rd heading to Virtuosi. They take the biggest haul of points so far. Good race for some, great race for others. But for the rest of the field, it was definitely a case of what happened, and they will definitely be needing to look at the debriefs. Plan ahead accordingly for the future. D765 takes the win. IX Finnell in 2nd and Curly 7 in 3rd. Just off the podium, A. Williams 43 for Carlin and SRG and Impulse for Campos. Eldorado 2009 comes home in 6th, Apex in 7th, MC Party in 8th, 9th for Scarly 42, and the last point paying position head to Psycho. 11th is for VNT Rosenquist, 12th for Broughton, and 13th for Pixels.